Hello and welcome to this edition of Value Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker from Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you're joining us, we appreciate it. It's always neat to see when our schools can come up with some really neat and cool programs that are interesting to the kids, but also teach them something. And on Wednesday night, students at Lockport Upper Elementary were at Rouses in Lockport to learn some math skills from an exciting new program called Real World Math with Rouses. And so we spoke to several teachers and the principal, Sherry Bergeron, about that program.
So I came across the idea following a blog with some other principals that share other ideas for family engagement activities. Of course, it wasn't done anywhere locally with Rouses. I've seen it done in places like Publix and things like that. So we adapted it for our own school and community so we can involve the local grocery store that's just a block away from our school to make it our own version of a math family engagement night, Real World Math with Rouses. It's exciting. I just came from inside the store watching the students and the parents interact, pointing out prices and how to subtract and add, and the fractions with the chips. It just makes it such a connection there. So when they're seeing it on the board at school, they have that memory of in the grocery store and how it relates to real world scenarios. But the idea was just an idea, and then we pitched it to teachers, and I'm so grateful for our teachers. I told them the idea and everybody got super excited about it. So they began planning, coming to the store after school so they can plan their own challenges. The challenges that they created are unique to our school, so they use the data of where our students might struggle, or those items or standards that are important for our students to be successful, to plan out these questions so they're quite specific to things that they're covering in class, and the things that students need to know for the next level of learning, or for things like standardized tests at the end of the year.
We're here at Rouses tonight to have our kids participate in a family math night with real world problems. All of us have created problems where the students have to walk throughout the store and they're going to solve real world problems with their parents. So we're getting families involved and showing the kids how what they're doing in the classroom relates to real life. For example, one of my questions has to do with fractions. They have to go find a certain box of variety chips, and then they have to tell what fraction of the chips are Chewies, what fraction are red Doritos, and then solve problems using those fractions. Well, it shows them that what they're learning in class is real. Like, they will benefit from knowing these skills in their daily lives, and especially as they get older.
I think it's awesome. The kids were very excited, and once they finish, we'll check their answers, and they have a chance to win a $25 Rouses gift card and a Lockport Upper blanket.
My students were very excited to come here today with their family to kind of just use all those skills we teach them, to measure, to use fractions, to just look at groceries and how it relates to our real world math.
I think it's a really great activity for our students to be able to do with us and their families. It's real world experience that they're going to have to use every day once they're older, so they were really excited to get out here and get hands-on. The kids are running around everywhere. They're having the best time with it. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt, looking around for everything they need, and they're having the best time with their parents.
I would like to thank Ms. Bergeron, our principal, for putting this together.
I'd also like to thank Rouses for allowing us to do this tonight, and hopefully it'll be a yearly event.
We also asked some of the students to find out what they had learned from these exercises.
I had to figure out how much 2 pounds were. I had to figure out how to do the subtraction to know the change on things, and I also figured out how to weigh a certain amount of things. If I need, for the change, if I need to buy something and I have a certain amount of money, if I buy a certain amount, I need to know how much I'll get back to see if I can buy some more with that leftover money. And then the poundage, that can help me whenever I have a thing that can carry a certain amount of weight. I can measure how much the thing weighs, see if I can lift it or carry it.
We're learning about pounds, ounces, how to compare monies, and how to put pounds into ounces. Because whenever you break it down, you just like you start to subtract it and then you have to add it back, so it'd kind of be easier to me. We get to look at food and we see how much they weigh. Oh yeah, and how much they cost.
Mostly, I think it's really important because it helps kids with learning math. When you get older, you need to learn how to add things to know how much money you need to spend to see if you have enough for it. So I think it really helps for when you get older.
I learned how to multiply prices, divide prices, add prices, and subtract prices. It shows you how to add and subtract it just in case you need it whenever you're doing roofing or anything. I had to do all 4 strategies and for the prices and add them, subtract, divide, and multiply all the prices to see what total answer I would get. We're doing the same thing in class right now, and I just learned how to make chips into a fraction and learned how to make other groceries into fractions also.
Last year I did decimals on Prodigy, and it was very hard. Like we had to add the prices up and everything and subtract it all. I had to round to the nearest 10 of a price on an item. We had to weigh a bunch of bananas and then use pounds or ounces to answer the question.
And that will do it for this edition of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming right here on HTV.